finance, entrepreneurship, politics, and more. And now your host, Karen Hunter.
Yes, welcome back to the hottest show in the galaxy. And we are here on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, where talk empowers and becomes action. And I'm here to give y'all all of the information through my guests. All right, so a couple of weeks ago, we had on the radio talk show host, one of them, who they were gifted the trademark for White Lives Matter. And we talked about that, and it meant that, I guess, Kanye, if he wants to sell T-shirts, Kanye West, he'll have to run a check to these brothers. And I got a reach out, and it was like, wait a minute, there's a little bit more to this. There's a little bit more to this. So let me welcome an expert in trademark law. She's also an attorney, founder, CEO of R.J. Pierce Law Firm. She goes by the name of The Biz Law, the B-I-Z lawyer, the Biz lawyer on the Twitters. Let me welcome the one and only Rosezena J. Pierce. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Okay, so what don't we know about that White Lives Matter trademark that we should know?
I think it's very important that we understand when someone files a trademark, it doesn't mean that they're going to be granted automatic ownership of that trademark. And also, too, what's really important is that when you file a trademark, you have to have a bona fide intent to use it, or you have to be using it already. Now, if someone can show that they are using it and they have prior use over your application, then they may be granted the rights to trademark ownership because they have prior usage over your application. And so if you notice, the application was filed October 3rd, I believe, 2022, this year, right? And it actually was filed coincidentally, I think the same day that Candace Owens posted the popular photograph of her and Kanye with their backs to the a camera that said White Lives Matter, right? And so that photograph itself can show that technically, if Kanye really wanted to fight this situation, he could, because he can show that he actually had prior usage. So I just think that's very, very important. And I didn't want a lot of entrepreneurs to be misled by this story. So I just felt a need to speak up in regards to it.
Thank you for that. As somebody that owns at least 3 trademarks, including Narrative, Nubia, and the Global Majority, I own those. The hoops that I had to go through, because narrative is a word that everyone knows, but the K in front of it with the actual mark, with the art and all of that makes it a unique thing. The word narrative, I couldn't trademark unto itself because it is a commonly used word, but with the K in front of it, that allowed me, with the actual way, the font and everything, to have a trademark, the Global Majority, similar with the art and that, registered trademark. So what is a registered trademark, Rosezena, and why do we need it?
Yes. So a registered trademark is a trademark that has been through the actual process, right? So once you file the application, it used to take the government 3 to 4 months to review the application. But then after COVID, they thought we were going to quarantine and chill, but we started quarantining and creating, and we started protecting our rights, right? And filing applications. So during COVID, the most trademarks was filed in history. So now it's taken the government almost 12 months just to review a trademark application, right? And because it sounds like you kind of went through some of that, the government will review it and they can either approve it for publication, which allows anyone in the public 30 days to oppose. And that's where Kanye can step up and oppose if he really wanted to sell these T-shirts, which I don't think he does because he's made that public. But also too, or they can issue an office action. Now, an office action means that they have an issue with the application, and it used to be 6 months to respond, but as of December 3rd, you're only going to have 3 months to respond. And the office action can either have a substantive issue within it or a non-substantive issue. Now, a substantive issue meaning they're refusing it on a legal basis. And I do believe, like how you said your narrative trademark, they kind of refused it because they said it's a commonly used name, right? Well, there's something under trademark law that's called failure to function as a trademark. And if you look up Black Lives Matter, no one owns that trademark because the government said it lost its source identifier, meaning like who is the original creator. And I think that's what's going to happen with this White Lives Matter situation. Whereas there's a lot of issues with that application, one being that the brothers got on CNN saying that they don't have any intent to use it. That can be a fraud claim because under trademark law, you have to have either usage or a bona fide intent to use it, right? But also too, it can fail to function as a trademark because so many people say White Lives Matter, just like so many people say Black Lives Matter. So the source identifier can get lost in that as well.
I love this conversation. A lot of us, and this is to me the thing the systems are in place to benefit those who master the systems. So we cannot go around the systems. We got to become masters of the system, right? So if the systems say this is how you do business, we have to learn how to do business, right? And just putting an R at the end of your thing does not. some of y'all out there just putting an aura.
Yes.
Talk about that, Rosezena, because you've seen it. You know damn well they didn't register the trademark when they got that aura there. I'm like, I have to pay for that aura.
Yes, Karen. And I'm so happy you brought that up too, because, me as a trademark lawyer, I used to take it for granted that everybody know the difference between the TM symbol and the R symbol with the circle. And now the TM symbol, you can use it at any time you like. The TM symbol, it doesn't vest any technical or legal rights to the brand, but it allows you to put the public on notice that you're using a brand as a trademark. Now, some people can use it and not even have a trademark on file. I wouldn't recommend that because if somebody else see you using that brand with a TM symbol, they're going to look it up. And if it's not filed, it probably will prompt them to file it. But also the R symbol. Now, the R symbol is a legal symbol that you only is supposed to use once you get registration, official registration, right? That the government grants you. If you use that R symbol and you have not had the trademark register, someone can report you to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, and they can fine you for deceptive practices on the public because you're basically telling the public that this is a registered trademark when you don't have it registered. And so even if those gentlemen went out and put, R symbol on that trademark itself, that will be false information because it's not registered yet. They just filed it October 3rd. The way the government is processing these applications right now, they probably won't even look at that application to probably summer of 2023, if not later.
We're talking with the biz lawyer. Rosezena J. Pierce is here, founder and CEO of R.J. Pierce Law Group. Why did you decide to become this kind of lawyer, trademark and patent lawyer? Why this, Rosezena?
I'm from the west side of Chicago, where, about 7 out of 10 men are arrested in my community that I come from, Lawndale. And, my dad wanted me to be a criminal lawyer. He wanted me to, fight the criminal justice system, right? But I felt like I can create more impact by showing people how to retain and get an economic power. And I knew power comes with ownership, right? And if I teach people and I say where I'm from, you were doing well if you owned a piece of property or that type of thing. But I wanted people to own their own businesses and be able to, retire early, because I see my grandparents, work, or my mom worked to the 50s and 60s, right? And now it's hard to retire and enjoy life because you don't have enough money or your health is not as good, right? And so I wanted to be able to empower people in my community. And then therefore, if we are able to empower the community through economic power, through ownership of business ownership and, intellectual property and real estate, now we can say who police our community. So I just thought, I can have a bigger impact in a different type of way.
Well, thank you for that. Our biggest mistake, people, and we got some calls we're going to get to, 866-801-8255. The biz lawyer is here. Biggest mistake people make when they start a business in this area?
The biggest mistake that I see, Karen, is people, they incorporate under their Secretary of State, meaning they'll get their LLC or they'll have their corporation and they'll think that's all they have to do. And they'll think they own their business just because they incorporate it under their Secretary of State. As entrepreneurs, we have to understand the different facets of the law so that we know how to utilize them properly. So when you incorporate, it's to basically shield you from any legal liability that is to arise out of your business. So it's basically separating you as the owner from the business. So if somebody wants to sue the business, they sue the business and not you personally. It also helps you for tax benefits, but nowhere under the law it says that it's going to grant you ownership rights to the brand name. And a lot of our entrepreneurs fall short of that and not understand that. And I try to give the example of, look, that's why you see big companies like Nike, right, who's incorporated under the Secretary of State of Oregon, but they also own the trademark to Nike under the USPTO, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is on a federal level. So therefore, if someone is infringing on your brand outside of your state, right, you have the power to stop them and enforce those rights, because your state only has the power within its state, but you can't reach out into those other states unless you have that federal backing and that federal power behind you.
Now, trademarking could be costly, right? So some of us who start businesses, we do a dollar cost analysis and it's like, I'm okay. I'm just not do this. At what point is it crucial for a person to trademark? And I also think some of us go too far and we try to trademark everything. Everything. Like, when do you trademark? When is it okay not to trademark? What kinds of businesses must be trademarked? And what kinds of business can we get away with not trademarking?
That's a great question, Karen. But one thing I will ask you is, will you build a house on land you don't own?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So one thing we don't want to do is build businesses if we do not own them. So we want to start with the protection of the brand at the very beginning, right? We don't want to go out and invest on product packaging and marketing material if we have not cleared that name yet. We have not filed that name to protect that name, because the worst case, people say it's expensive to trademark, but it's 10 times more expensive to invest your time, your money, and resources into a brand to only receive a cease and desist letter, and the actual owner of that brand is demanded that you turn over your products and your marketing material that you invested your money and time to create, right? That's one thing. Now, a great question you did ask is like, but what type of businesses need to be protected? So I would say trademarks help consumers relate back to where a product or service come from in the marketplace, right? So if you have like a holding company that really does not compete in the marketplace, you don't need to trademark that, right? Because all that company is to do is just hold assets, right? Or say, for instance, you have, an LLC that's protecting like your rental property, right? As long as you don't have a lot of different rental properties and you're not competing against, another big rental company, then I would say you probably wouldn't necessarily need to trademark that. But think about it this way. How would you feel if your competitor, right? If a competitor came along and they took your same name or something confusingly similar to it and was attracting your potential clients based on that name you were using? If you feel a way about that and that does not let you feel, sleep easy at night, then that probably means you need to trademark that brand.
All right. 866-801-8255. Ramsey's Jaw is who we had on a couple of weeks ago. Quentin Ward. They were gifted the trademark. They said they were gifted it by a listener. Can you be gifted a trademark? And if so, to your point, it was filed, it hasn't been approved. So what was actually gifted to them that they think they can now sell to Kanye for $1 billion?
And that's very interesting, because there's rules under the USPTO that an application that's filed for intent to use cannot be assigned. So once the examiner takes a look at that assignment may be invalid if the examiner want to be really hard on it, right? So, I don't know who, was investing these gentlemen, but like, I always tell my clients, look, you got the right to remain silent, right? Like, just because what you don't want to do is your testimony and your public statements be used against you when it's time, to defend your rights, if per se, right? And so, but once the trademark is registered, or usage has been showed, you actually can assign a trademark to another user, or you can gift it to someone. That is perfectly fine. But the government, there is a rule that says that usage has to be shown first before an assignment can actually be granted. So that's some sticky things there too as well. So Karen, you're bringing up a lot of great points that may be a challenge for, those young brothers. And, I was just disheartened because it was just a miseducation, right? Of these, and I'm like, and they're on national, and I'm like, no, please don't. Yeah. And it's like, no one is really speaking up to say, this is not right under the law. It's not correct under the law.
Well, primarily because, I find this a lot because I deal in many different facets of business, but an entertainment lawyer in music is not necessarily good for publishing. But you come in, or an entertainment lawyer who now is doing real estate, so you don't get your entertainment lawyer to negotiate your real estate deals. Like we don't know that they're lawyers for everything. Like I'm not going to have my plumber come and do my electrician. He might be a contractor or general contractor, can do some electricity, but I don't want him wiring my home for, what I'm saying? Like there's levels to this, and they admittedly didn't know. They were looking for legal advice, but you're right. We talk too much, and the limelight is intoxicating. All right, we're talking with Rosezena. Rosezena Pierce is here. The Biz Lawyers, where you can follow her on the Twitters, and we're going to go to the callers. But let me tell you all about LifeLock, because this holiday season is upon us. It's here. And that means shopping online. That means looking for deals. That means there's a flurry of activity. You're going to attract some scammers, because many shoppers report experiencing fraud during the holiday season, because these scammers can easily take advantage of the season to make off with your gifts, your credit card information, and even your identity. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Your personal information gets exposed so often, making it dangerously easy for a cyber criminal to steal your identity. Protecting your identity can be just as easy with LifeLock by Norton. LifeLock detects and alerts you to potential identity threats you may not spot on your own. And if you become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but it's easy to help protect yourself with LifeLock. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year using promo code Karen, Karen. You can call them 800-LifeLock or go to lifelock.com. Use promo code Karen for 25% off. All right, let's go to the phones. Rosezena. Michelle in Texas has a question. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Rosezena. Oh, my God. You have hit on everything that I'm literally going through right now with my business. I worked in advertising here in Texas. It started in like 98, 99. I started freelancing, so I created my own name. In 2016, I was looking to move to Miami. So I was putting my resume out there with my business name on it. I was doing just what you said, don't do, putting the TM next to it, all that. Just this year, I found out, I've always Googled the business name. Nothing ever came up. It only came up in connection to me. Just this year, I find out that two melanemic guys in Miami started a business using the name. And I had someone from a law school in Texas tell me that they had started it. I think I talked too much, and I told her when I started it. So when she came back, she was melanemic also. She came back and she said, oh, they started it, and she chose a year before mine. So how do I find out if they really started it before me or not?
Okay, Rosezena.
Okay, so I would say too, the Biz Lawyer on Instagram, and like Karen was just saying, these fraudulent people with fake accounts out there everywhere, but I'm the Biz Lawyer, right? THEBIZ Lawyer. And if you send me a DM, I can take a look for you just to see like where it is, right? Sometimes it's hard to see when people started unless they already filed the application. Because when you do file an application, Karen, if you're doing a usage application, you do have to tell the government what day you started using the
That's
trademark.
right. That's right.
Right. So usage is very important. So send me a DM on Instagram at the Biz Lawyer and send me your brand name and I'll take a look for you. And we can, I can see what I can do to help you with that.
And I apologize. It's IG, not Twitter. IG. She's on IG where everybody's at doing business. All right. So to that point, the fact that she didn't do it, she doesn't have really a leg to stand on because she doesn't have any way of proving where she started.
So it sounds like she does have, and she says she's been using it for a long time.
Right, but the fact that they said they did it a year before,
mm-hmm.
She never filed. So she has some, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. That's why we got to protect our necks.
Yes. And that's why I said, don't build a house on land you don't own. Like you gotta, this, like a lot of people think like, oh, this is something I can get to later. But it really, if you're building everything and pouring everything into this brand name, you need to protect it. And I hate when people, because like you were saying, Karen, you don't go to a foot doctor for brain surgery, right? And a lot of people run up against a lot of different lawyers and business coaches that tell them that this is not important when it's the most important thing. Now, if you like playing house with your business, then no, it ain't important, right? You willing to flip things over and trade things around and you got money to waste on product packaging and things, then it's not important. But if you are invested in this and you're trying to grow a legacy, this is a legacy builder asset, right? Trademarks last as long as you use them, you will not lose them. Coca-Cola's been registered since 1893, Mercedes since 1903. And you look at all those Fortune 500 companies, I bet you they own their trademark to their businesses.
And to that point, you can build slowly once you've gathered and done your foundation pouring, which this is, right? Spend that money, take care of your brand. Like I would not have released my clothing line until it was trademarked, right? Because it's the dope design and so is the name. I'm not trying to be out here fighting with people who got the time or the money. No, I'm gonna make sure my business is taken care of before I even release anything. But let's go to Trey in Houston, Texas. Stay in Texas. Hi, Trey. Quickly.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hi. I'm glad to get all this information. I've actually been in a position where I've had to defend my own trademarks twice in court. But I was really calling because of something you said earlier in regards to you form an LLC to protect your personal from your business endeavors, correct? So what I find in a lot of my business, I own restaurants, is at the end of most of my contracts with vendors or anything like that, they want me to personally guarantee the contract or the terms of the whatever it is that I'm buying. If it's on a net 30 or something, they want me to personally guarantee it. How can you get around that if the whole sole purpose of me having an LLC is so that the business is going to be responsible, but I need to be separated from that?
Yes. So one thing I would say too, because on Instagram, everybody talks about LLCs. So when we say it, it resonates with people, right? But I just want to say this, the law is not a one size fit all garment. A LLC may not be the best entity type for you. You might need a corporation, right? Or you might need, depending on the type of business structure, that's why you want to sit down and speak with a CPA and an attorney. Now, when it comes to getting, getting business debt, right? If your business has not been up sustainable long enough, some creditors will want that personal guarantee because they know people can hide behind the shield of incorporation or corporation. And that's just the extra step that they utilize to get their money, right? To guarantee that they're going to get their money. So what you probably want to do is talk to a funding expert who can help you get different type of funding that does not require a personal guarantee, right? Now, I'm a lawyer, right? So I know how people can duck and hide under the law. So one thing I definitely will ask for is a personal guarantee, right? Because if you don't pay me my money, I want to be able to come and get you as well. And so creditors are getting smarter, right? Because business owners, are utilizing the law in a way that's proper for them. So I would just say, get with a funding expert that can possibly help you get funding that will also, won't require a personal guarantee. And another thing I would say, just because he is a restaurant owner, that goes back to the holding company. So because you have all this valuable restaurant equipment and things like that, you definitely want to make sure that a holding company owns that restaurant equipment equipment in the event someone comes in, slip and fall, or get food poisoning, and they want to sue the restaurant. They can't repossess the equipment because the equipment is not owned by the same company that's operating the restaurant. Hopefully,
I love that. All right, I told y'all to call in. Now the lines are lit, and now we gotta go. So will you come back, Ms. Rosezena Pierce?
I definitely will come back. And if they want to, they can send me a DM on Instagram at the Biz Lawyer. But I would definitely come back for you, Karen.
Okay. All right. The Biz Lawyer on IG. Thank you for being here, madam. Appreciate you. And everyone holding on, go to her DMs. All right. Let me say thank you to the team. Amina, great job. You did a masterful job filling in for the Smizzy. Thank you, Amina, Alexa, Tramel, ladies. Appreciate y'all. Truth in the Universe, Andy, Maddie, Queen, Lindsay, the video team. And